Hi everyone, today my classmate Carlos and I will be talking about our lesson plan. So, our grade level is ninth grade. The target content is the Panopticon, specifically chapter 6 and 7, and the formalist theory. So, the curricular content and functions are formalist literary criticism, close reading strategy, identification of literary elements such as imagery, characterization, metaphor, simile, hyperbole, symbol form, diction, and unity. The use of textual evidence to support literary interpretations and organization of ideas in a literary analysis paragraph. The function is to analyze how Jenny Fagan uses literary elements from chapters 6 and 7 of the Panopticon to create meaning. The values and attitudes are appreciation of literature as an artistic expression, the development of critical thinking through textual analysis, and respect for different interpretations of literary works.
Okay, so let's begin with the explanation of the plan. First, we have the review. In this case, the SMART objective is by the end of the activity, students will be able to correctly match key concepts with their corresponding definitions or examples, achieving 100% accuracy through peer interaction in a collaborative task. This task is reading and speaking. The idea is that every student will receive one piece of paper that includes a term, a definition, or an example. Appendix number one. In this case, the appendix is basically like a worksheet that will be cut. Once they got their pieces of paper, the idea is that they discuss with their classmates and try to find out the other parts of the same piece of paper. In this case, the literary elements that we are going to use as content are imagery, characterization, metaphor, simile, and hyperbole. This activity is expected to last 5 minutes, and the learning outcome is recognition of literary elements and their correct meanings, and the assessment is information gap matching activity and teacher's observation.
So now we have the warm up activity. In this case, the SMART objective is by the end of the activity, students will be able to answer the question by writing a complete sentence using a provided structure frame to describe Annie's preferences with at least 80% accuracy in content using guided support and peer sharing in class. So this activity is mainly for writing. So in this case, what students are supposed to do is answer a question that says, what are the things Anis likes? So what they have to do is to answer on their notebooks the question, and then they are going to share with the classmates. So the structure is this one. Anis likes things such as, and they have the spaces to write the things Anis like to last 5 minutes. And the learning outcome is production of structured sentences describing Annie's preferences using a guided frame. And the assessment is sentence writing task using a structured frame and oral sharing.
Now we have the before reading or watching activity. In this case, the SMART goal is by the end of the activity, students will be able to identify key concepts related to formalism and complete and mark with an X exercise, achieving at least 80% accuracy using information from the classroom presentation. This activity is vocabulary and also reading. In this case, the idea is that students will see a presentation on a TV.
This is appendix number 2. Here we will be covering formalism, in this case, the concept, some important concepts of formalism, such as symbol, form, diction, unity. And here we have like the definition of the concepts and also some examples. And that would be.
Once the presentation ends, the students' doubts or questions will be clarified and they will receive a handout, appendix number 3. In this case, it's a one mark with an X exercise. As you can see, here we have 10 different questions. Each question has 3 possible answers. And here we have the answer key. So as you can see, in each question we have a check for the correct answer. That's it. The teachers will walk around the class answering questions and checking doubts, and at the end, the teacher will check the exercise orally. In this case, the literary elements that will be presented are as content are symbol, form, diction, and unity, and this activity is expected to last 20 minutes. And the learning outcome is identification of key concepts and of formalism from a classroom presentation, and the assessment is a worksheet marked with an exercise and teacher observations.
Then we have the during reading viewing. In this case, the SMART objective is that by the end of the activity, students will be able to analyze key literary element in excerpts from the Panopticon, achieving at least 70% accuracy by completing a structured questions with textual evidence in a pair-based activity. This activity is reading and writing. So the idea for this activity is that students will work in pairs. What they are going to do is they will receive a handout called Formalism Detective File. This is appendix number 4. In this case, this is the handout students will receive for the main activity. Here is the formalism detective file. So what they have to do is to visit each station, and here they have like some charts to complete the different questions. They are 4 questions, and there are like 4 charts they have to complete. And well, they are going to go to different stations around the classroom, each containing an excerpt from the Panopticon and focusing on one literary element such as symbol, form, diction, and unity. So what they are going to do is rotate through the stations, reading each excerpt and completing the corresponding questions in their handout. In this case, the teachers will be like monitoring the activity, answer procedural questions, and checks progress, students' progress. So for the content, we will be like a teaching like those quotes. They have to work with those quotes, specifically from chapter 6 and 7. The activity is expected to last 30 minutes, and the learning outcome is analysis of literary elements in excerpts from the Panopticon using textual evidence. The assessment is formalism detective file worksheet and teacher's observation.
And last but not least, we have the after reading or watching. In this case, the SMART goal is by the end of the activity, students will be able to write a structured analytical paragraph interpreting the panopticon using a selected literary element, including textual evidence and explanation with at least 80% coherence and accuracy, and share their work by reading with the class when prompted. This activity is writing and reading. The idea is that in the same pairs, students will choose one literary element in which that we worked before, and what they have to do is write a paragraph using the following structure. I have appendix number 5. In this case is the structure. The students will write a paragraph using the following structure. The idea is that the students just follow this structure. They are expected to rewrite it, so they have to write the author uses, and they write the literary element, and so on. That's the idea of this appendix. Once the students finish their paragraphs, they have to read them to the rest of the class at random. As the structure, we decided to choose this one to create this one. The idea is that students use them to follow to as a guide as the moment of writing the paragraph. This activity is expected to last 20 minutes, and the learning outcome is production of a structured analytical paragraph interpreting the panopticon using a literary element and textual evidence, and the assessment is a structured paragraph writing and oral reading. So now let's move on to the peer group feedback.
Well, in my case, I will give Carlos a 100 because he did a really good job, and I think he deserves a lot that great.
In my case, I will also give Fernanda a 100 because I see all the effort that she put into this project, and I think that she deserves that because she did a great and excellent job. So basically that's it for our planning. Thank you so much for watching, and see you on the next video maybe. Bye.
Bye.